Are you ever trying to visit your wife in light containment? Yeah, I'll be there in a sec, babe. But then you get lost in this infinite maze that wasn't here before, and during your trip an ultra fast black creature is chasing you, whilst every 10 seconds you get notified by a loudspeaker that even more combines have arrived into the facility. Yeah, sorry that I was late, babe. There was all of this bunch of weird shit and like it even... Well, my friends, that's 14.0. There were so many changes from the well-known heavy containment rework to the less-known 106 buff and the complete change of how the respawn system works and much more. So even I, after endless hours of playtime, struggle to survive in this new environment. But don't worry, as today I'll cover everything game-changing that was added in 14.0, how to adapt to it and even use it to your advantage. So without any further wait, let's get right into it. Now let's firstly talk about the 106 buff, since so many people seem to be overlooking this. First of all, his maximum hume shield was increased by 100, which is pretty relevant. However, what matters is they reduced both his emerge and submerge time of the Hunter's Atlas ability by a whole second. Which you may think it isn't a lot, but trust me, it will definitely catch you off guard. But they also gave him a 20% movement boost for 5 seconds after emerging and basically made his Hunter cooldown ability non-existent. Which means that as long as 106 can acquire vigor consistently, he can just infinitely teleport around to kill people or hide. And trust me, acquiring vigor is really easy, especially with the movement speed buff, since as long as you move or capture one enemy, your meter should hardly go below 40%. This buff makes 106 absolutely dominate in heavy containment, where he significantly outspeeds you and you have nothing to hide behind, since, well, almost everything is just a straight corridor, but it also makes him extremely strong in entrance zone, since he can just teleport all around you, close the doors and box you in. Now sure, this does make 106 more lore accurate and he definitely needed a buff, but oh my, this shit is OP. So if you know there's a 106 in your game, always be aware of long corridors or area with many closed doors. I would also recommend having either an cola or adrenaline on you at all times, since if 106 decides to focus on you, it's only a matter of time before you run out of sprint. The only real way to escape him is to go up an elevator, or to meet up with your teammates and unload a few magazines into him to scare him off. Also, trying to use the micro is completely pointless, since, well, he can just get the hell out of there in 1 second. Another important tip is to always listen for his breathing and movement noise. If you're being chased and you suddenly can't hear him anymore, he has teleported somewhere ahead of you to cut you off. So that's why you immediately wanna take a sharp reverse turn and go towards the way he was in. And then honestly, just hide or slowly move around without using your sprint, since you never know when he'll come out of the floor to chase you. So yeah, the conclusion, make sure to always have sprint, adrenaline and cola basically guarantee your survival. Avoid long corridors and large amounts of doors, or just call your American friends for help. Now let's talk about the respawn system overhaul basics and how to use it to your advantage. You probably noticed a new big ass counter on top of your screen when in Spectator. Now many people don't seem to know how it works, so let me quickly explain what each thing on it means. This is the amount of tickets needed to create a spawn wave, and this is the amount of tickets the team currently has. The amount of tickets needed to create a spawn wave will increase with each one created, and if a team has no spawn waves left, this bar will turn grey and stop ticking down. Now it should be obvious that these bars that are decreasing indicate how much time is left for a team to spawn, and no, if a team has more spawn waves, that doesn't mean their meter will go down faster. Now you may be wondering, how does a team get tickets and spawn faster than the other one, and well, the answer is in actions. For example, if I, as an Class D or on Chaos, kill an SCP, it will give us 15 points, which fuels a new spawn wave, but it will also reduce 15 seconds from our timer, which means that if nobody from the MTF team finds a way to reduce their time, we are guaranteed to spawn first. Now here's a full table of what and how much reduces the timer, but now I'll just quickly go over the most important ones. Picking up unique SCP items like the hat, gramophone or ball will reduce the timer by 5 seconds and give you 2 tickets, whilst consumable SCP items like the cola, SCP-500 and this green liquid will give us 1 ticket and reduce 2 seconds. However, this only applies once in the whole round, so if your teammate or enemy picks up the same SCP afterwards, it won't do anything. If you're on civilian, this is a great way to make sure your team spawns first. For example, if you're a scientist and feel threatened by the immense aura of the Class D, then simply upgrade your card once and pick up all the SCP items in light containment, and you're literally guaranteed for the MTF to spawn first. Unless the said Class D escape. One Class D escaping reduces 20 seconds of their timer and gives 5 tickets. However, a scientist escape reduces 30 seconds. Killing enemy militians also reduces 2 seconds per kill, and for each 20% of an SCP's HP you take will grant your team 4 tickets and reduce 4 seconds. Which means that guards can also really easily guarantee for MTF to spawn if they decide to gang up on Unlonely 049 and just obliterate him, which will take 60% of his HP and reduce the timer by a whole 12 seconds. However, this aside, there's also mini waves. After a team spawns, there will be a 2-minute window. If that team manages to acquire 10 tickets in that time, this small person icon will appear above the timer, and a small respawn wave of usually 5 people or less will spawn. However, the wave, instead of spawning in a traditional way with a captain, sergeant and cadet, will spawn with no captain, only 1 sergeant, and all the rest will be cadets. This also applies to the chaos mini waves, with the repressors being the highest ranking, marauders being the middle rank, rank and rifleman being the lowest. However, there's also special terms and conditions to these mini-waves. If for example a chaos wave were spawned and 3 people didn't get spawned, that will reduce the amount of tickets needed for a mini-wave to 4 instead of 10, which means if 1 or 2 of your friends didn't spawn, you can do some team objectives and cause them to spawn pretty easily. Also, every member of the mini-waves faction who dies meanwhile will reduce the timer of the mini-wave by 5 seconds, which means if you kill SCP-173 and get tickets that way, but then get completely genocided by 096, it's very likely a mini-wave will soon happen to help get the situation under control, which in my opinion is really cool. You may be wondering what happens if both teams run out of tickets. Well then, the Deadman Switch sequence will activate with a nuke that's impossible to disable. Oh my, that was a lot of yapping, but since we're on the topic of the nuke, I think it's time we talk about the new Alpha Warhead room. Hold on, before I continue yapping about the new nuke and its strategies, I'd really appreciate if you click this button right here, because it will glow in cool colors and will ensure you're up to date with the latest SCP SL strategies and more. Oh, and it will also make 99 like you a lot, and I mean a lot. But anyways, now if you're playing on a server with many players and is midway through the round, this place is literally a death trap, since either a grenade or an SCP can just drop down and completely end your career. Or you can just go down and then go back up just to see a firing line 1 second before you get absolutely obliterated, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. So personally, if you wanna stay alive, I'd advise you to just completely avoid this area. The downstairs area in this big room is a decent place to juke SCPs or to make a last stand, however make sure to watch out for these vents. Anyways, here's some nuke room fun facts. You can survive this fall with an anti-SCP-207. You can get on top of this elevator as a human by jumping onto it like this, and you can also jump through this hole right here to, I guess, catch your enemies off guard or something, I don't know. And yeah, make sure to never stand under the elevators. Okay, now let's talk about heavy containment and its layouts. Now, the truth is, there is no way to fully master them unless you're Rainbow. Cause like, what the fuck is this? I mean, sure, the principle is for the most part the same like in 13.5. When you go through a checkpoint, stick to the edges of the map, aka go right as much as you can. If you can't go right, then go straight until you can go right again. This way, you're guaranteed to find what we call special rooms. However, what I noticed is that these special rooms in 14.2 are now way more oftenly SCP rooms, and light containment elevators are usually on completely the opposite side of the map. So if you wanna find a lieutenant card or some other loot, you should stick to the method of just going right until you can't anymore. However, if you wanna reach light containment, I'd say you have way better odds of going straight through the middle and then either turning left or right. And this way you should also avoid most of the freshly spawned SCPs. I also advise this technique for a vice versa scenario. If you just arrived into heavy from light, you're far more likely to find SCP chambers and loot if you go left or right, and are more likely to find checkpoints faster if you just go straight. However, you're still gambling, since every now and then you'll just stumble upon an absolute anomaly of a layout like, what the fuck is this abomination? And this ain't no coincidence, nor could literally make them as painful to navigate as possible. But yeah, in conclusion, stick to the sides if you're feeling brave and need loot, and just go straight if you wanna get the hell out of here as fast as possible. And the last thing I have to talk about is the experimental lockers and achievements. Now, these guys can absolutely spawn anywhere, but they most commonly spawn in the corners of these hallways, or they replace a generator in the 096 and 106 chamber, or in this new 4-way room. They also sometimes replace the SCP locker in the heavy armory. To open them, you need level 3 armory access, which only the MTF card, O5 and the Chaos card have. Only 2 can spawn per round, and one will have one particle disruptor and the other one will have one jailbird, which you can use for whatever your heart desires, though I personally prefer using them as a deterrent for the SCP. Since they usually shit themselves if you use it on them, even though you do barely any damage. This update also added 16 brand new achievements, and most of them are actually pretty easy to get, like this one where you gotta kill somebody after using a hat, or this one where you just gotta talk through a gramophone, but there's also some that will kick you in the wall 100 times before you get them. I won't go over them all or how to get them easily, since that will take too long, but if you're struggling, I'd highly recommend watching this video where I literally speedrun every single one. Anyways, that will be it for today's yapping session. Is there something relevant that I missed and didn't mention? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. Also, please consider clicking this button right here, because not only will it glow in cool colors, you will also be up to date with all SCP SL strategies, and will also have insane luck in your next game. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I mean really, thank you, like, I really appreciate you, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.